Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is a Grumpy Old Guy Gaming, and this is another episode of Die Less, featuring Wee our Wave Master that we've been rebuilding as we do a refresher on this series. In our last episode, we made our online debut and moved up to level 12. As you may have noticed, we've done quite a bit of equipment upgrading in the interim. Still only level 12, so quite a bit of experience left to gain. You could see our physical attack at -4, not really going to help us much there, but if we do ever land damage on anything, we have a chance at Spirit Drain. Also picked up an instance of null damage from Kagayuzen. Picked up some fun status effects up here in Muley, which charms a target, and Rankile, which confuses a target. We're probably going to rely on Muley more so. So looking at our shortcuts, that's going to be L1 and circle, and that's really what we're going to lead most battles with. Now we're back in the offline story, talking to Elk here, hoping we find Mia. Subaru is also ready to go to Sweet Unique Rock Candy, so let's go ahead, invite, and make our way over. So here we are in Sweet Unique Rock Candy. It's only a level 8 field. So we kind of feel like the party is going to do a good deal of the work for us if we let them. Elk said that was exciting. I don't know how. But as you could see, this charm spell is going to take us a good bit of the ways through. Is still rather taxing on our fledgling SP total, so the Mage's Soul's very helpful. Poor Elk already wants to take a break, and we have to, well, we would have to retreat, but Subaru absolutely cleaning house there. Love it when a plan comes together. Got some grand armor. Be a nice item for trade back in town. Went ahead and switched over to the Hobgoblin. The sword is a construct and is therefore mostly immune to status effects, if I remember correctly. There we got the Hobgoblin both confused and charmed, so it has no clue what to do with itself. Eventually Subaru finishes the job, though. Gotta watch doing that too much, though. Rather draining. Suppose we could take a break from the status effect fun here and just cast a spell. As you can see, we're doing some fantastic damage there with the Zot spell. I'll look that specific spell up here in a sec. We are running Mayani Cruise out of L2 and Circle. Sorry, that is a cruise spell. Zot comes up from the ground. What am I saying? Get our cutscene here. Guys, I'm pleasantly surprised at how well this is going. Status abilities can be powerful helpers. Muley in particular just seems to be an absolute game wrecker in the right hands. If you get a solid tank, there's really no end to what it can do for you. Literally just sitting back and watching the gameplay itself after casting a single spell. We got a physical attack down, which is fine. Finally did miss one there because it auto-targeted the construct. Managed to hit the shield man on the second attempt, but the battle was over by then pretty much. Just for laughs, I do want to see what our physical attack is at. It stays at -4. Okay. Well, the debuff's already gone, I suppose. Go ahead, charm that Snakeoid, have it wheel right back around. Love it when a plan comes together. And believe it or not, even as taxing as it is, that's the first Mage's Soul I've used this dungeon. And we picked it right back up out of a chest. So how's that for efficiency? Does not take much when you're only casting once a combat. There we took a little chip damage, so Elk didn't have to. Apologies on blacking that out, but wanted to keep this as spoiler-free as possible for major story events. It is worth noting, though, that we picked up a couple hundred experience there, and quite a few items. So I'm going to go ahead and do my best to stock up because there's not much more we need in the way of equipment on our current setup. And then I will get right back with you guys. So backing out here, we've got all sorts of information about grunties that is not really the most helpful thing for us at the moment. But it is sort of feeding into what we're going to do next in the offline story, which is head to Theta server. This time, we've only got to take Subaru with us. So with the third spot open, we could grab any one of our available friends. And I feel like having a second heavy member of the party would be very beneficial to us. So even though the option of BT there with a heal at level 18 is also enticing, I'm actually going to go ahead and take Mimiru in the party with us. So we have two strong characters up front. We're actually going to go ahead, trigger the portal, and then immediately back off. I think the ghost is our... Nope, see, that time we targeted the Minear, and that was not helpful. There we go. We charmed the Wisp. That can only mean good things for us. Now, unfortunately, they're going to have some issues hitting that Wisp. Let's see what they've got in the way of magic skills. Looks like Rajuk Ram. What's Mimiru got? Nothing but Awakening, so this is all on Subaru. Let's go ahead and charm again. Try a Rye Cruise there. There we go. Rye Cruise makes much more sense. Looks like Fortune's going to smile on us here in the first level, and we're going to encounter nothing but treasures. Had one portal to open, and it turned out to be naught but a chest drop. So a good chance for us to restock on things, even pick up some healing potions that will be beneficial down the road when our hit points improve. Not to mention the hit points of potential online allies. And just like that, we're already 2 floors down in this adventure. See, even just helping out that little bit with Oruram, which is now our cheapest damage spell thanks to the Rod of Pattern, sets us up in a fantastic position for Mimiru and Subaru to just finish off the Menhir before we get any of those nasty resurrection tricks that they are known for. Before going any further, let's go ahead and get our troop healed up. Now it's time to take down this portal. Okay, I misspoke. I forgot about Mayani Cruise there. It only costs 20, but it's only single target. Having the ROM spell hit both is fantastic, especially the level of damage we're putting out. Third level, and we've got ourselves a bit of a fighting force here. Time to get Subaru back into the magic damage game. See, quality 19 there. Got, I believe, the statue chest ahead, so not much to do, but once again wrap up the story event as we pick up a flare guard to go with a pair of healing potions. Suppose it's not a bad idea to heal up Mimi Rouge. Poor thing's at half health. Get Subaru back up to full as well. I believe we're heading to a... well, best not. I wasn't going to spoil the data bug fight, but this is actually another chance to show off another facet here in offline. We are playing a true healer, data draining when needed, and picking up a virus core Q for our efforts. Just to see if it'll work, we could charm the 1,000 trees, take all the difficulty out of that battle, and pick up 15 more. Ah, what a wholesome and satisfying encounter that was. Once again, another dungeon done, and again, even though the gains are small, it has taken virtually no time, certainly a lot more than what's shown here in this edited video, but honestly, it could have been far longer to get half a level here. Do believe we are going to refresh on items, and we have new mail. So here in the offline mail, there we are. Mia pointing us in the direction of a new data bug. not really where I want to go at this point. So instead, I think I'm going to head on. So here we are back in Crab Server. If you remember right, in our last run, we actually did some farming for Kagayuzen. Did not pull it then, ended up pulling it off another day down the road with a different character, strangely enough. But this is the dungeon for it, and if you thought we did passably well before with Gan Rom, just wait till you see what we could do with Oru Rom. So that's going to be 32 experience per room. And as you can see, we've still got enough SP to do it again here. Feel relatively safe that we're going to be taking out the vast majority of the shieldmen on that initial Oru Rom. As long as we get right in the middle there and cast right away, we should be relatively safe, and they're not a high enough level to have any sort of serious resistance against their own level. Especially not at the power we're casting. Now, as you can see, we're still not getting a whole ton of SP back, and with no access to Rig Game inherently in our gear, sadly, choosing Kagayuzen was an either-or between that or the Sublime stole down the road. Sometimes you just gotta make the tough choice, though, and this is going to leave us with some SP shortages. Safe to say, though, whatever Mage's Souls we use, we're going to make that up and then some just on sellable things here throughout. Okay, we're rejoining Wee T here. Made it all the way to 19th level. Had the good fortune to party up for a few runs and even took a crack at some more ambitious dungeons. Doing a Kagayuzen run here one more time, one to show the difference from before to now. Granted, we have a couple buffs helping us. But as you can see with our increased attack power and SP pool, we're just leveling these things. Shieldmen stand very little chance, and there's actually a pretty good chance of us getting through a couple rooms on our mana as it sits. Most importantly, I wanted to show you that despite the fact that this is rated at a level 8 dungeon, and we are level 19 characters, you can actually get experience, albeit a singular point, from these shieldmen here. So if you're soloing and you need to build up that confidence, perhaps get more used to key bindings or try out new weapons, don't be afraid to go down in level a little bit. It may not be the quickest experience gains, but, you know, rather +1 than -1,000. Missed the shield man with the first anti-cruise. Nice thing about these lower level enemies is they have yet to develop elemental tolerances, so you could hit them with their own element, which happens to be our strongest element here too. As you could see, I'm still cleaning up the treasures rather handily, building up that gold supply. Big thing is the Oru ROMs. If I can get those early enough, then we're in pretty good shape for the rest. See, even without app core, we're still hitting for over 500 on the shield men, which is more level difference than anything. But honestly, between our staff and the insane level, we've got a rather high magic attack stat. Taking a look here, we're at 40 base magic attack with the Rod of Pattern equipped, which could actually go higher if we equipped the Jester's wand, but right now I don't really want to specialize in any specific element. In fact, that's going to be WeT's theme throughout, not specializing in any specific element. If anything, I would think Muley, the charm spell, is probably going to be the signature spell for WeT, at least in the short term here. It's a very high percentage hit, and it can just do a number on enemy mobs. If it's one of those portals that's only spawning 2 monsters, you've incapacitated one, and that incapacitated monster is attacking the other. If you have somebody to tank for you, that effectively solves the combat from your end. May not get you experience on its own in online, but it'll definitely keep the party alive, and it is a fun trick to bring out. Offline, you'll get all the experience in the world, so feel free to milk that. Already we're getting to the point where we can have a fair bit of SP in the pool and still get the full effect of a mage's soul. So great improvement to be had here with WeT. As we reach the end of this dungeon run, rather safe. Not a hit landed on us, which is really how you want to play Wave Master, because physical defense is not the best. No rare pulled there, but it was really the experience we're after. Now that we're sitting pretty, really only a few runs away on anything from level 20, there is one other thing I wanted to go over in this episode before I would consider us totally set up to play with others. As you could see, we're in a really good spot on stats. And we've even got Spirit Drain for physical attacks if we can ever come up on a monster. Maybe something gets data drained. And we can maybe, punch our way to some free SP. Sleep spells are great for that as well. We also have Ranky Lay, which is the confusion spell. Not the biggest help there, but it's an option. And we have an instance of null damage, which I really can't tell you how many times the timely null damage has really saved one of my characters. Now, like I said, I've got one more thing to show you, and we will get to it presently. And we are back here in offline mode. Just one thing I wanted to do real quick here to wrap up this episode. So you can see I'm not spending any time talking to any NPCs or anything. I'm making a beeline for the end of the map here in Dunloriag, which I just unlocked recently. Coming to where the music changes, and if you're unfamiliar with the series, this is an offline mode where you can raise grunties. We are at the grunty shop, talking to the wrangler here. You can get information about grunties and about grunty food and raising them. It's a fun little mini game. If you try and play it out to its nth, the grunties are going to start asking for foods. It's going to be something small, like something sweet, and then they may say something like cool that grows in lava. The clues get more specific as they get older, and you do your best to follow it, and you end up with a noble grunty, because that's the way it goes. You get to keep one of those, and then the rest just sort of fly off into the ether, because every town only needs one noble grunty, according to grunty lore. Just notice this guy has that weird sort of rubber arm thing you saw on, like, 80s action figures. There are guides out there For the specific different grunties, I highly suggest looking them up. They are plentiful to be found because the recipes for grunties and fragment are the exact same they were in the single player games. That said, when we look at our key items and go to grunty food, we have a ton. Well, we have a fair bit. This is not a ton by any means, but we do have a fair amount. So we're going to go ahead and raise a descendant of the legendary grunty here. That's true, it is always hungry. Let's talk to little grunty one. And this is going to be real simple. We're just going to go ahead and feed this thing like 25 to 30 of anything. As you can see, we're starting off with 15 piney apples, because I've run a lot of farming dungeons to get levels, and piney apples are plentiful in those. Gives us a bit of a burp, and grows into a fine adolescent grunty. See, now it wants bloody eggs. We have one. And as much as I can appreciate its desire for a bloody egg, I can't really give that up right now. I might need that somewhere down the road. So, 10 grunt mints it gets. And now we're into the young adult one, and it wants cordyceps. Only got 4 cordyceps. So I think it meant wants golden eggs. Let's find out. Something's happening. And there we go. We have a noble grunty. It has become a fine gentleman thanks to us ignoring its very specific food requests. And we get a grunty food. Now, if you talk to the noble grunty, it has a wonderful little statement reminding me that I can trade with it. And if you look at the noble grunty's list, it's really got nothing that you'd want to trade for here. Nice to have. Other grunties have fantastic tradable items. That said, the big thing is we have a grunty flute, which allows us to summon a grunty on the field, which A, might save us from having to deal with dangerous portals and wandering monsters out in the field, and B, just lets us keep up with other people who have theirs. So at this point, we've got some null damage, we've got some spirit drain, and we've got a staff that packs a punch along with a decent level. Adding in the grunty, I think we're good to go for some serious .hack gameplay. And that's where we're going to leave this one off. I'm going to drop you guys here at the Dunloriag Gate. Thank you very much for tuning into this series and checking things out. This has been a Grumpy Old Guy Gaming. Take care. We'll see you around.